My name is Ben Mandiel. I report for the Chronicle News, and we are here today with mayoral candidate Pat Howlett.
Good to be here.
We just want to learn more about him and why he decided to run for mayor, and what he can bring to the community. Thank you for joining us today.
Actually, I appreciate the Chronicle and the other entities that have allowed just communication. So appreciate being here. Look forward to it.
I guess just to start, for people who don't know you, could you give a little background on yourself?
Yeah, so small business owner for about 35 years, married 32 years, brother of 6, have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls, 6 grandchildren. That's the good gig. If you ever get the grandpa gig, grab it. It's the ultimate one. I've been on a council before, Fraser, Colorado. Fraser and Winter Park kind of work really close together, so I was a mayor of Fraser as well. World-class outdoor recreation places. So I've been on tourism board pre and after 9/11, so I knew what it was kind of like when we had our plan together and we were going to go out there and get everybody to fly in, and then 9/12 we met shortly thereafter and said, you know what, our plan, our marketing plan is now not a marketing plan. We need to figure out how you get folks up from the front range. So I've been involved in things where you had to pivot and you had to do things a little quicker. Locally, I published Little Tidbits Funny Papers, and you won't find any political stuff in it by me or anyone else. It's just supposed to make people smile, have some fun, and enjoy themselves. And we really did it to help promote locally owned businesses. And so that's kind of the quick splash of color.
What made you want to run for mayor? And I guess what kind of leadership experience do you bring? You mentioned your time in Fraser Park. Or Winter
Yeah,
Park.
I'll grab the first one first, okay? What makes me run for mayor? Had no intention. But I love this place. And I do have some experience. And we're behind in some areas. And we're behind in areas that I've seen before. I'm almost running around saying deja vu all over again. Because in Fraser Winter Park, we had this opportunity when Denver still kind of controlled the ski area before it ended up being taken over by a big, multinational kind of a resort company. We had this opportunity to maybe strengthen our housing, to strengthen maybe the folks who were living there already, to make it a place where seniors and the young could actually still live there. That we got behind, and I see it right now. I do not see us moving quick enough, and I think you can move a little faster with a more sense of urgency without cutting corners, without doing anything that isn't right and checking squares. And so when I saw that was happening, that was one thing that kind of pushed me. But I like the council, I like the mayor, I like Rusty. I think they're all really good people. So it really ended up being that my kids can't go back to where they grew up, where they went to high school, where they went to elementary school, because they're house poor and there's no economy there. And so I've seen that happen before. And when no one else ran and it looked like there was going to be apathy out there, I thought at least I could move the dialogue forward. I thought what I could do is at least say these are real issues that I've seen before and I know what it looks like. And I think there's some opportunities to not make it a problem, but we need to move faster. So it really had to do with, I look at it as I was in the Air Force for 14 years, 4 active duty. My 2 sons are in the Navy right now. I don't know why they went to the Navy, but. So it really was a call to service to a place I love, to a place if you could have a little bit of good input in a place like Trinidad, where so many things have happened that's so historic and so amazing, and also so many challenges, and you get an opportunity to kind of tweak that a little bit. I don't know, folks that like public service and people that like to serve, I think you're called to that. Hope that helped. Oh, leadership. Military leadership, public service leadership, nonprofit leadership, family leadership. I think I'm well-rounded in that area, and I would say that most of the time, folks have liked and appreciated my leadership style. It's very collaborative. It calls in a lot of stakeholders. It identifies that I don't know everything, and so let me either research things or let me surround myself with great people that know things. I think it would be amazing to lead this group on the staff I admire the staff, the city staff, the city manager, city planner, the city clerk. I think we've got a great team. And again, it's nothing against the current coach. I just think we need to play, we need to air it out a little bit more maybe. We need to play a different, faster game. So.
And I guess what do you hope to accomplish in your term as mayor, if you're elected?
What I'd like to do is I'd like to create a housing start boom in the spring of 2022. I believe there's a lot of things in place to be able to do that. And that includes an assortment of housing opportunities, not just what we may be able to do out at Cougar Canyon, and not just what you may be able to do with infill, but open it up like the city of Trinidad has done before in its history. I've said this several times. If you just drive around, bike around, or walk around Trinidad, you'll see a coal baron's big house, and right around the corner you'll see a duplex, and right around the corner you'll see a 1,200 square foot house, and then there'll be an apartment building. The people of Trinidad have solved this problem before. This isn't anything new. And so what I'd like to try and do also is I see a healthy locally owned business economy. I see an opportunity for citizens empowered to start their own businesses. I see an improved infrastructure that allows you to do things when the mine comes back in town, and allows you to actually, when you have a company that's ready, willing, and able to do things, that you can support them. I really see a creative artist economy blooming. And I think that's where we're going to get that multifaceted, real economy, not an extractive economy or not in a cannabis economy. I do see a cannabis industry that's ready to pivot and due to external changes, but I see them as some of the best in the cannabis industry in the country. I see the folks that we have here gritty, sharp, determined, flexible, and so I don't really see this. Obviously there are challenges, but there are challenges all the time. They've been in the city before, and they'll be here again. But I see them pivoting and actually adding new sectors to the cannabis industry. And so New Mexico, try and keep up. It's happened before in Colorado when we got into the craft brew business, right? Well, us and Seattle, Washington, right? Denver. Mayor at the time, brew pub owner at the time, Hickenlooper, John Hick, then mayor, and then governor. They found that, other places, just because you get some brewing equipment and just because you could get a recipe and some hops and some grain, doesn't mean that you actually had all the supply chain, the operations, the infrastructure. I see great consultants in the cannabis industry coming out of Trinidad. So I am very upbeat and very positive, but constructively positive. And lastly, I see Trinidad, Raton, and our region becoming more than just a couple of state parks and a river runs through it. But I see us becoming an outdoor mecca where folks from all over the world will come here and enjoy what we have and enjoy some of the secrets that have been here. So I have a very strong vision, but I say my vision is steeped in what's already happened here before. It's already happened here, so all we have to do is allow it to re-happen. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate the opportunity to at least kind of look at that for a moment.
No worries. And I guess, how do you move a council or a city that seems to be somewhat stagnant, because these ideas, do get brought up, but then it almost feels like people aren't ready for change. And so I guess, how do you change the mindset around town to actually allow for these changes to stick?
Hang with me, Benjamin, because I got to push back a little bit there, okay? Because I don't exactly see it that way.
Okay.
Okay? I see when I spent I'm literally a couple hundred hours watching Channel 71, reading archives of the Chronicle. The Chronicle and Channel 71 really do a great job of letting you know kind of what's really going on, okay? So I've been able to see council members with a vast amount of experience that you could bring to the table. I've been able to see folks that really want to do some things, but maybe the resources aren't there right now. Mm. I've been able to see, prioritization may be a little different. I may have a different set of priorities, but when you've gone a long period of time of boom and bust and boom and bust, And then you finally get something kind of, some rainbows and butterflies happening for you. And there's money there. You are so far behind with the infrastructure repairs, catch-up, and maintenance that it seems like you're stagnant and you're not going anywhere when you really are. So I'm just going to be, I'm not a politician guy. I'm your neighbor, I have a business here. But I'm not going to take shots at folks who I see are doing a very good job of trying to do things. Now, that said, I believe I have a leadership style that actually is a little more collaborative. That actually, I like, for one, I like prioritization budgeting. I like priority budgeting. Where are we right now? What funds do we have? Rather than everybody in the government kind of saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, and we need more dollars. I like to say, what do we really have to do? I like the survey that Sky Tallman's doing right now, because I think when you go out in the community and you ask for input and you say, listen, what do you want to see? What are your values? Where do you want to go? I think it helps you rewrite the Chapter 14 Land Use Code, which is a big thing. People will get annoyed at me saying that, but it has to be done, and I know it's being undertaken right now. But to kind of summarize that, I think I know I can work with the folks that are already in all the seats, whether it be at the town council. I have a good management style with regards to leaving people alone, creating an environment in which people can work with and be successful, and then getting the heck out of the way and letting them do that. I think I can work well with the county. I certainly can work well with anybody up north, but we'll get to maybe something a little bit more. I want to do things right here first before I really open up the gates from somebody up north to take advantage of things that I think our locally owned businesses can take advantage of, and maybe up north we'll start calling for Trinidad consultants to go up there and help them,
How do you bridge this perceived lack of transparency that some people in town are trying to put on the city? How would you bridge that perceived gap, whether it's there or not, of not being transparent enough?
Well, I'm not going to push back on this one, because it was one of the first times I went. I've gone to the council probably 3 or 4 times, maybe 4, maybe a little more, but right in there. But one of the times I had to do with communication. It is very hard for anybody to know what's going on, even the great stuff that's going on, if you don't communicate. And I'm just talking about communication. I'm not talking about executive session and work sessions and retreats and those kinds of things. Put those aside for just a second, right? Let's just talk about just the everyday thing. How do I know what's going on in the next agenda for planning, zoning, and variance? I've tried. I'm a computer guy. It's hard to find. How do I know when the meetings are, those kind of things? And so I don't think it's an on purpose thing. So I don't think there's anybody, the mayor, the council, the city, I don't think there's anybody there in some nebulous way trying to make sure no one gets information, okay? I do think that we're lagging behind, and that's one of the areas we're lagging behind. So certainly I'm going to say almost a complete redev of the website to make sure that the first thing it does is communicate. The next thing it does is act like a brochure. But the first thing it does, I'd like to have a newsletter that goes out and says the good, the bad, and the ugly. What did we just do this last month? We have a communications person coming on board. I think they've been onboarding for a little bit. They probably need to get some ready, but I think that would be good. And again, I would suggest that to the council and the city manager and see if they thought that was a good idea, and then proceed. But I think a newsletter coming out to where you go to the website, and just like any place else, you put in your email address and you say, yes, I'd like the city news, and every month you get a copy of that. And that would help you decide, should I be mad? Should I be happy? Should I go talk to one of my representatives? Should I go to a city council meeting? So no, and again, I apologize. I don't mean to say it this way, but I'm disappointed that we don't communicate better in such a small, close, vibrant community. Folks love this place. I do. And I think if they do, you communicate better with them. So again, I don't think it's some kind of bad, let's hide information because there's great information. We don't even share the great stuff. But I do believe it's something that needs to be attacked strongly, fastly, with a sense of urgency. And so shortly after January's meeting, we should have a better communication platform, regardless of who's sitting in the seat.
And do you have any plans to increase various tax revenues in town? There is concern on the current city council right now with Proposition 119, which would increase our marijuana tax this year, and they see that as potentially decreasing tax revenue for the for the city if taxes overall rise. So is this a concern of yours? And I guess, do you have any ideas on how we could diversify a little more?
We just hit it, right? Diversify, right? So let's look at this. If you only have extractive coal, then you're going to be dependent upon those world markets and what happens there and that kind of labor. If you only have cannabis, then you're going to be dependent on that. Like I said, that's why I read kind of the visioning thing. I see an opportunity to have a multifaceted economy, with mining being one of those things right now with the New Elk mine coming in. The problem is we can't house people. So I think we've, and again, I'm not throwing stones at anybody, I'm just saying what I think would be an obvious observation. We've lagged on really attacking the housing crisis, which I think is right now. We went from having lots of homes 5-6 years ago, all of them being purchased, and all of those are the ones we need right now, but we're not allowed based on the code to build any of those houses anymore because of setbacks and lot sizes and those kinds of things, okay? So I think one of the things you do is, rather than saying, let's say we talk about housing with the economy, right? Rather than saying, I think there's some good ideas in the council, I'm just gonna throw in maybe a different flavor. Rather than saying, you know what, we need to raise a lot of money so we can attract some developer from Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Denver, or someplace else, I think what we ought to do is phase things in and start attacking some of our housing needs with the construction companies that are here. They're vested here. They live here. Their wealth should be created here. I think we need to look at our locally owned construction companies, and rather than having somebody from Denver come down and employ our guys and gals and then leave and batch out the money at the end of the day or the end of the project, let's see if we can't invest in our own folks and see if they can't create jobs here. We've got a college right here that are creating programs. We've got people that want better jobs that already have homes here. They have the house, they don't have the job. Some people can get the job, but now they need a house. So when you start looking at this and you say, we've got mining, okay, not a check mark there, but let's just put a pencil check mark there, hold a big eraser to the side, okay? We've got a cannabis industry with, in my opinion, have some of the brightest and finest and best people in that industry right here. Let's see what they need. Let's bring them together and find out what they need. Proposition 119, okay, that's here. I guarantee you there'll be something else 2 years from now, and something else 2 years from now, and something else 2 years from now, right? So we need a plan with that. But I'm going to bank a lot on the creative and artist economy. I've always been an admirer of them. I actually believe that's the economy that usually takes a Lodo or a Rhino District or a whatever and takes it from blight to brightness. They get moved out because they don't own any of the properties and any of the buildings, and so once they've done all their work to make it a great place, their rent out, the rent's raised and they get moved out. I want to take this opportunity right now over this next 2 years and say, can we just kind of shore up the people that are already here, and can we really help the creative and artist class economy go and grow? Okay, there's another economic thing there, and there's lots of stuff that goes with that, right? Okay, outdoor recreation. You either have a Fisher's Peak, Spanish Peaks, a river, gravel roads, a river run through it, or you don't. You can't order them. Your town can't make one tomorrow. You either have 1890s and 1910 buildings with brick streets, or you don't. That would be an imaginary Disney place that they do. We have those things here. You either have a train that comes through this area that actually goes to places, or you don't. You can't get one. You either have the kind of quality, gritty people that are here, or you don't. I'm very optimistic with regards to creating different layers of our economy that would actually make an economy. And when one's not doing so great, maybe the other ones are doing a little bit better. But in order for any of that to happen for me, the apex issue is housing. And we need to re-envision what housing looks like, what housing can be, because I'm not throwing stones at the folks who wrote Chapter 14 of the Land Use Code. Quite frankly, there's a lot of great things that have been created by the people that come before me and come before Phil and come before Rusty and anybody sitting in the council right now. Go look at the 2015 Greenways and Trails Plan. It's really good stuff. Smart. We paid for it. We approved it. Hopefully there was community involvement in it. Now let's go do some of it. We paid for go grab a copy of the 2017 City Comprehensive Plan. Smart stuff in there. I'm sure that cost us some money. It can't be archived. It has to be moved up and look at those things and prioritize what we can do in those areas, and then bring different stakeholders together that are in those different economic sectors that you want to try and nurture and grow of our own before we have to import and export our money. The interesting thing, and I'm a localist, and I explained a little bit of that already in Tom's deal, but the thing we really need to do is when a dollar comes in town, we need to keep it in town longer. And most times, if you spend a dollar with a locally owned business, it's going to be here 6 or 7 times before it gets batched out and rolls someplace else. When you have an outdoor recreation economy, they bring their wallets and cards here, they deposit money with us, and they go back home having a great time and telling their friends. We need to do more of that. Batching money out at the end of the day, allowing big developers to come here, because I've sat across the table from them, and quite frankly, they're rather formidable. They always have more money. They always have more attorneys. They always have the benefit of time because they have lots of projects going on. And when you start showing them we need you, well, then you got blood in the water, and I just don't think that's a good thing. I am confident that I'm confident that anybody that wants to say everybody up north is smarter than everybody down here, I'm confident in saying you're dead wrong. I don't think we need to import intelligence. I don't think we need to import somebody else's plan. I think there's a lot of people here, boots on the ground, folks that are vested in this community, that if empowered, they could do amazing things. And you know what? Now let's let up north call Trinidad sometimes and ask us to come up and help them with some problems, because they got a whole bunch of them up there. I don't think they're doing that well up there. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to add that we haven't asked about, but that you think people should know about you or your campaign, or what you hope to bring to the position if elected?
I just ask you. Everyone tells me, I get emails, texts, direct messages, those kind of things saying there's just no way I'm going to win. I've gotten that since the day one, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to make a point on a couple of things, though. And so November 3rd, I'll wake up happy. Good life, good wife, good kids, good grandkids. I live in a great community. But I would like to try and do some things once we've covered some of this stuff on our social safety net. I do believe you can build a great civil community that's safe and secure and economically viable, and you can take care of people at the same time. So, in my philosophy of governance, you take care of your elders of the tribe, the seniors in your community, and you make things a little easier for them. And you take care of your youth and the kids. And when you're doing that, maybe somebody's having to take care of mom and dad. Well, you're helping them too. And when you're doing that with children, maybe a single mom or a couple or a family struggling still has something to activate their kids and keep them active in. Well, they're helped too. So for me, I always look at things and say, is it helping our elders? Is it helping our youth? If it is, Pat's all in. If it isn't, well, we need to try and figure out some things here, okay? So I just ask anybody with regards to their vote. It's an important vote. It's not earth-shattering, but it's an important vote. This isn't, I hope you are comforted by me saying, I don't really want to be mayor forever. This is not a political career. I don't want to then be mayor and then be another. This isn't a leapfrog for me. When I'm done serving you, I'll go home right here, and I'll just get back to doing what I do. But in the next 2 years, save your vote a little bit. Bring it November 2nd. But in the next 2 years, I believe I can prioritize things. I believe I can work with the folks that are already in place. And I think I can make things positively constructive to move forward. So I'm throwing myself out there, and we'll see how that goes. And I say that with all humility, and say that Mayor Rico and Councilman Goodall are really good. They could be my neighbor any day of the week. Move either right or left of me, move across the street. I think they're good men, good hearts, really serve this community well, and tag up. Maybe it's time for a new player to get in the game. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Appreciate it.